For me, there's a simple rule in politics. Never, ever be surprised by what happens in politics.
The face of truth is open. The eyes of truth are bright. The lips of truth are ever closed. The head of truth is upright. The breast of truth stands forward. The gaze of truth is straight. Truth has neither fear nor doubt. Truth has patience to wait. The words of truth are touching. The voice of truth is deep. The law of truth is simple. All you sow, you reap. The soul of truth is flaming. The heart of truth is warm. The mind of truth is clear and firm through rain and storm. Facts are only its shadow. Truth stands above all sin. Great be the battle of life. Truth in the end shall win. The image of truth is the cross. Wisdom's message is its rod. The sign of truth is Christ, and the soul of truth is God. Life of truth is eternal. Immortal is its past. Power of truth shall endure. Truth shall hold to the last.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living room. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
Coming up, a tense exchange between a reporter and the island's prime minister. Also, a warning that things can get very, very tough as far as the high cost of living is concerned. And that is thanks to the tariff that the U.S. plans to impose on ships, vessels that are being constructed in China. This certainly has implications for us in St. Lucia, and it is being described as scary, even more scary than the toll that COVID-19 took on consumers in St. Lucia and indeed the rest of the world. We'll continue to focus on the possible relocation of the halls of justice and a whole lot more between now and 2 o'clock this afternoon right here on the world's most monitored talk show, and that is NewsSpin on Power 97.9 FM. Later, I'll be taking your calls at 452-2979, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, 716-2026. And Amanda will be going through some of your comments in the chat room. So the Prime Minister says, figures do not lie. And we know, to be blunt, that is not true at all. That's absolutely false. And it is very strange that the Prime Minister would have made that statement yesterday during his pre-cabinet press briefing, because I've come across certain quotes. Figures don't lie, but liars figure. And also, you're familiar with this one. There are 3 kinds of lies. You have lies, damned lies, and statistics. And politicians, statisticians, and also economists, they play with numbers. Oh, the economy grew by 3.7%. And you're made to believe that this impacted the majority of St. Lucians. And all you have to do, as has been the norm over several decades, even when we had Sir John Compton as Prime Minister, Dr. Kenny Anthony as Prime Minister, and his deputy then was Philip J. Pierre. And even when Alan Shastry was Prime Minister, we heard economic growth, economic growth, economic growth. But continuously, the people in the various communities told you that they're not feeling it. They're not feeling the impact. And very often, when you're talking about economic growth, it's just a minuscule section of the society that is being positively impacted. I'm talking about construction. The guys were selling the cement, the major contractors on the island. What about single parents, single mothers in particular? All of those people don't benefit from this so-called economic growth. Let us talk about people's happiness. How is this impacting people directly? Let us talk about Human Development Index, your access to health care in a country. Let us talk about those things. And then we will be talking about real growth. And some of the ways that numbers lie. The small sample size is one example. When conclusions are drawn from small sample size, whilst they may be true, they are not robust. Sample size of, let's say, 200, not reflective of the size of the nation's population. Context omission, when you fail to look at certain variables, look at certain statistics. Presenting a statistic without providing the necessary context or background information. When you also cherry pick data, focusing on specific data points while ignoring others to create a desired narrative. So the Prime Minister will be delivering the revenue of estimates of revenue and expenditure today from 5 o'clock. Hopefully they'll have a prompt start. And of course, he'll be making reference to lots of figures and figures and figures and figures. By the end of his speech, you will be bamboozled. So the Prime Minister speaks about a record $2 billion budget. And that is why we ask the question of the day. As such, are you feeling the economic growth that Prime Minister PJP is referencing? I think this year is projected, the economy is projected to grow by 3.7%. Let's listen to Prime Minister as I speak briefly on the $2 billion fiscal package for 2025-2026.
The budget will show the level of fiscal prudence and growth in the economy. It will show that we are running surpluses, some serious surpluses that are necessary for the continuation of the economic development of St. Lucia. I'm very excited to present it tomorrow. But as you know, tomorrow is just going to be about figures, basically figures. But really where the government's policy comes out, how the government will guide the country for the next year, will come at the passing or the reading of the appropriation bill, which will happen the last Tuesday of April. So tomorrow is basically going to be figures, very quantitative in terms of how the economy performed in between April the 1st, 2024 and March the 31st, March the 31st, 2025. This is what's going to happen tomorrow. But for the reading of the appropriation bill, you get all the government's policies, etc. But I can tell you, the country has been well managed as far as the figures are concerned, and as you know, figures never lie.
The Prime Minister says, as you know, he's taking you for a fool. As you know, the figures never lie. That is not true. The Prime Minister was involved in a kind of a heated exchange, you want to call it that, tense exchange with a journalist, because she would not be distracted into focusing on one aspect of this project, that is the Halls of Justice project. She came to elicit certain responses from the Prime Minister, and she wanted her questions answered. Because all of a sudden the Prime Minister, with regard to this project, is saying that there's anything new about the changes that you're hearing about. Because he did reveal that he was having discussions with various stakeholders, in particular the Catholic Church. But never once we ever heard from the St. Lucian leader and others in the government that there is a possibility that the structure would have been relocated to some other area other than the area that was earmarked, the old courthouse area or location just opposite the Catholic Church on Miko Street. So we heard somebody calling NewsSpin last week, and we got confirmation from the MP for Castries Central. So further clarification was sought. We'll be getting a glimpse of that exchange in just a moment. But first, the chairman of NIPRO, Mr. Evaristus Jean-Marie, on the 19th of April 2024, was sort of breathing a sigh of relief, because as far as he was concerned, finally a suitable location had been found for the construction of the Halls of Justice.
The Halls of Justice project has been looking for a home for over 10 years. First it was Barnard Hill, the current location of the Cultural Center, until there was pushback from cultural activists. Then it was along the Millennium Highway, which for reasons unknown did not happen. And then La Toc near the old mental hospital, which got further pushback for reasons I leave to your own imagination. Well, the search has finally ended with the decision to locate this much needed facility at this site, the old courthouse, to be adjoined to the overhead bridge to the old Ministry of Education building over there.
And of course, things have changed to the extent that either that Halls of Justice will be positioned very much closer to the Constitution Park, or they will have to cross the road, go over to that lot there that's owned by the Ajuda family. So you just heard there from Mr. Evaristus Jean-Marie, the NIPRO chair, speaking April the 19th of 2024 during the sword-turning ceremony for that project. Now this tense exchange between the Prime Minister and a reporter.
Refer you to the revelations by the Housing Minister, Mr. Frederick, as he explained to us that the government was in a negotiation process, properly purchasing the Ajoda property with a change in scope of the design and the plans for the House of Justice. We know that it would have been in that property adjacent to the Roman Catholic Church. So if you could just tell us what is the government now considering? That's what I want to know.
If you recall, and we have said several times, including in Parliament, that the government is in discussion with the church on putting the building in the location where the old courthouse was. I said so several times. That was not a revelation. I said several times that the government, and I also said, I even went as far as saying, I do not intend to find myself in any argument with the Catholic Church. If you recall, that's on the record. The good thing is these things are on the record. That's one. Number two, you may have also heard the opposition say that they had invoked the prayer warriors to pray for the Catholic Church. That's on the record also. They had invoked the prayer warriors to pray for the Catholic Church, because the Catholic Church needed prayers because I was imposing a building in front of the iconic cathedral. So the idea of discussions in the Catholic Church was always on the cards. What happened is that the government decided that after discussion with the Catholic Church, we would move the building from where it is and move it to the other side of the building. In that case, we would have to occupy the piece of land that Mr. Judah had. That was not a secret. That was not a secret. That was not a secret. If you recall, probably you didn't hear, but it wasn't a secret. What's happened now is the government is negotiating with a Judah to buy the piece of land, and the House of Justice will move the front, will be the old education building, and the other side will be on the Judah lot. That's going to be an asset of the state. The state of St. Lucia will own another piece of valuable real estate in the country, the state. But we cannot disclose figures because we are in negotiations with the Judah's family. That's all.
So what will become of the court site?
That is what we did. Probably it might be a national park, an open green space, all the trees. So think about that side. But that wasn't a secret.
No one is saying it as a secret. Well, at least I'm not saying. I just wanted to get official
yes. And
confirmation
we
what's happening there, because there are changes.
Will you check the owner of the Constitution Bank? You check it?
I am not interested in that. I'm asking you. That's what I asked you.
Okay.
If you were responding to the opposition, then respond to the opposition.
No,
I'm asking you my own questions.
Well, I'm just telling you my own. I'm just giving you my own.
I'm not interested in Hesse and whatnot. I'm asking for facts.
Flashing mirrors, you just said there from the Prime Minister, Philippe J. Pierre, in that exchange with DBS's Zane Romulus. Also, my information is, and we have some an overlay for you. Remember the incident involving the middle-aged man who was struck in the head, and that is on the 20th of March, 2025, and he died as a result. His name, Ken Joseph Ismail of La Pointe Choiseul. The incident occurring in Industry Choiseul on the 20th of March. And the alleged killer or perpetrator has been caught. He was caught earlier today, taken into police custody over in Soufrière. So we are monitoring this particular development. Let me hear from you at 452-2979, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. And Amanda will be going through some of your comments in the chat room. Also, the Prime Minister influenced me to do something. I'll provide you with the evidence in just a moment. In the meantime, let me see if I have any of your WhatsApp messages to go through. Somebody says they're one way or the other. Opposition. Another WhatsApp message. Hi team, this is a publication in the Gazette which shows the Judah land has acquired the land from January 17th. First publication was January 17th. They finalized the acquisition via the second publication on February 10th, 2025. So I'll go through this to ascertain the veracity of what you just said there. But I guess you were saying maybe the administration has already purchased the lot. All right, we have a call via WhatsApp as we say hello and good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin, you're on the air.
Hi, Jemmy.
Hi. Hello.
Hi. Tim?
Yes, good afternoon to you, Mr. Alan Chasney.
So, sir, you just played an interview with the Prime Minister as it pertains to the halls of justice.
Mm-hmm.
And we had also heard on one occasion the Minister of Housing, who's also in the Prime Minister's office, calling up to make comments about the halls of justice. In the Prime Minister's comments, and also Richard Frederick indicated very clearly and precisely that the decision to move to a Judah is something that they're contemplating and that they're in negotiations with Mr. Judah to acquire the property. Is that not true?
Yes.
Have I misquoted anybody in any way?
No, you haven't. No.
Okay. Yet, I've sent to you a copy of a gazette in February of this year where the government has already acquired that property.
I did not see that, the information that you sent. I have not seen it. But anyway, continue.
Okay, it's been sent to you, and I'll arrange to resend it to you so you can show it on your show. So let me explain to you how the acquisition process works. Once Cabinet makes a decision and approves the acquisition of land, and it is gazetted the first time, and then a second time, when it's gazetted the second time, it becomes the best of the state. The negotiation for the price continues after the land has been fully acquired. So the fact that this government has already, since February, made the decision to acquire the land means that they've not been transparent to this country in any way. And that they are deliberately lying to the people of St. Lucia, once again, about what's going on with this Halls of Justice. It's very important for us to also understand that the government did the groundbreaking and told us that there was planning approval. Yet when the same planning department went and met with the church, I'm reliably informed by persons who were at that meeting that the government admitted that there was no environmental impact study done. None. And the environmental impact study was important because it deals with, one of the things it would have dealt with is the structural integrity of all the buildings in the vicinity. The CDC buildings, the church, and any of the buildings in that vicinity. And part of that would be a traffic study. So here it is now. This government wants us to believe that after they broke ground, after they announced that they had planning approval, they're coming back to say that there's consultation. They're also saying that they're in discussions with Mr. Judah, yet we have evidence that they've gone ahead and started the process to acquire the land. I also want to say, Tim, and I want to put us all on alert of what's taking place right now in CIP. We saw that the government of Grenada, a similar company to Galaxy in Grenada, that's a Chinese company that's also doing a hotel development over there, that the government now confirmed that they've received enough information to show that they were discounting. And they were discounting by providing a financial package to persons who were acquiring their citizenship. And they were so convinced of the information that they have now suspended that company's license to operate in CIP. They have put all of their applications currently under review. They've suspended them. And they've also now said that all persons that were approved under that project to get Grenadian citizenship, there's an audit taking place. We see in St. Kitts, where 2 companies from Dubai who were alleged to have been involved in discounting. And that allegation came in the judicial review case that was being done by Mr. Martinez, and that's the evidence he provided. The St. Kitts government has admitted that 30 of the people have admitted to not paying the right amount of money and have now paid the right amount of money. And their investigations of the other 158 that the MSR identified are under investigation. But they are sufficiently satisfied, and therefore they have now suspended the license for 2 of those companies in Dubai. I am very, very concerned. And all St. Lucians should be concerned, because this government, particularly the minister in charge, Ernest Hilaire, have a history of protecting companies that are in their own best interest at the expense of St. Lucians. And let me explain to you what I mean by that, Tim. If you remember, we had a situation where an ambassador was appointed in UK called Jafali. And evidence came out that he got that that position, not because he had any IMO experience, but simply because he was using St. Lucia to get immunity against his wife for his divorce. You remember that case, Tim?
Yeah, I remember clearly, yes.
Okay. And one of the things that happened was that the lady, his name was Estrada. And if you remember, her lawyers made a request of the government of St. Lucia to waive the immunity specifically for this case. And the government of St. Lucia, if you recall, said no. Shortly afterwards, the British government made a request that it be waived specifically for this case. And once again, they said no. So I want to ask the question. Here it is that St. Lucia is facing the possibility, St. Lucians are facing the possibility of being banned from traveling to America. And let's be clear, not only anybody who wants to apply for a visa will be rejected, but all those who currently have visas will also be rejected. That is a draft document and has not come into effect. We've all seen for our own selves that clearly this is related to CIP. So here it is that Grenada is not on the list and coincidentally have suspended this Chinese company and reviewing all their applications. St. Kitts, who is on the list, yesterday made the decision to suspend these two companies, and I would imagine that the next thing they will do is have to review Galaxy, because how could you have it where an agent is selling a product of which they're discounting, and the company that is involved would have known what was going on because they're the ones receiving the money. So it's only eminent. Do you really believe, and do St. Lucians believe, given the evidence and the history that we've seen with this particular minister and this government, that if in fact it is true, and the U.S. government is going to expect that we do the same thing with Galaxy, that this government is going to do the right thing and throw Galaxy under the bus to protect our interest? I would say to you that history has shown that they will not. And they will continue to do things to protect their own interest and not the interest of the people of St. Lucia. This is a government that every day we catch them in another lie. This whole situation with the halls of justice, a lie. Repeatedly, they have said that the building cost $144 million. And that's what the project cost. That's a lie. The construction cost of the building is $144 million. Another $22 million is for furnishings, electrical, etc. And then the financing of that $160 million over 12 years is going to be another $140 million. So the entire cost of the project is $300 million. And when you divide it by the square footage, it's $16 a square foot. The last thing, if you would permit me, Tim, to touch on, is I made a statement on Sunday that they had leased or sold the Constitutional Park property for $1. The minister came out and spoke about where the statue is of Sir John as being Constitution Park. I know the Printry, the Parliament, the park, and the old courthouse were all, in my mind, Constitution Park. And if you remember, Sir John's plan was to demolish the Printry, demolish the Parliament building, demolish the old courthouse, and make that one entire thing a park. Everyone would know, or should know, that what I was speaking about was the piece of property that was going to house the halls of justice right there on Constitution Park. And it is an absolute fact that the government was doing a bolt arrangement with NH. And part of that bolt arrangement was that they were transferring the land through the way of a lease to them for 20 years at $1 per year. And I made it an issue because that is exactly how these transactions go. And the Labour Party continued to demonize DSH and the government of St. Lucia for doing exactly the same thing, to leasing an acre of land for $1 for 99 years in exchange that Galaxy would build a horse racing track, which they did with their own money. In this particular case, Tim, I want us to all understand this. With the halls of justice, the government of St. Lucia is putting in the land for $1. the government of St. Lucia is giving NH a contract to build the property. And the government of St. Lucia is agreeing to lease back the property for 12 years at $16 a square foot. So what exactly is the contractor bringing to the table? And if that's the deal, why did we not use a local contractor to do that project? Because all of the monies and the resources are coming from St. Lucia. And I know for a fact that there are contractors in St. Lucia that could have easily done this building. So I'm calling this government out that they owe everyone an apology. And I want everyone in St. Lucia to understand that if this government is re-elected, we know three things for a fact. We know that taxes are going to increase in this country. The VAT rate will go up and more taxes will come on because we've seen it already. The 2.5% levy that was supposed to go away is still here. Gas taxes in St. Kitts are $12 a gallon. In St. Lucia, it's $16.50. We consume 2 million gallons of gas a month, Tim. That means $8 million a month is being made off of taxes in this country, and it will continue. The second thing that we know is that this government will not do what is necessary to protect the interest, the traveling interest of the country, of the people of this country. And they will protect Galaxy, and they will not do the right thing because the history is there to show that that's what it done. The third thing is that this is the Labour Party that first identified Richard Frederick as the worst thing to happen in politics, made all kinds of derogatory, damning allegations against Richard. Okay? And went as far as going to the U.S. Embassy to make complaints about Richard. It was when I came in as the political leader that we kicked Richard Frederick out of the United Workers' Party. It is the Labour Party who wanted people to believe that Richard was running as an independent candidate. And at the same time, Labour Party did not run a candidate in Cast 3 Central. And even after winning 13 seats, chose to put Richard Frederick in their cabinet, in the Prime Minister's office. And the most damning thing is what the Prime Minister said 2 weeks ago. He said that he is proud to have Richard Frederick in his cabinet, that this is a good man. So if we re-elect, if you, the people, re-elect Labour Party, for sure, Richard Frederick will be back into the cabinet and will continue to rule the cabinet as he is now. And vindictiveness and I believe corrupt acts in government will continue. So I'm saying to the people of St. Lucia, be very careful. In electing Labour Party, taxes will go up. The possibility of a travel ban is real, and we will have Richard Frederick and his vindictive politics down our throats. I thank you, Tim.
Just so there from the leader of the opposition, who was also the MP for Micoud South, just so there from former Prime Minister, Mr. Alan Chasney. That was our first caller. Hope our second caller could be the Prime Minister of St. Lucia and the Minister with responsibility for finance. The lines are open, if he cares to, ahead of his budget presentation this afternoon, the estimates of revenue and expenditure. You can call NewsSpin right now at 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. What is happening in the chat room, Amanda?
Good afternoon, Tim. Good afternoon, NewsSpinners. A commentator reads, the question is the traffic study planning approval of the building in the new location. Where are the vehicles going to park? Secondly, who will pay for the stoppage of the signed contract for a building in progress? A NewsSpinner says, I read the book, How to Lie with Statistics. Another comment reads, ask Biden what happened to him when he said the U.S. economy was strong. Someone says here, I think we all know where the record growth went. Ask Kenton Casimir and Jeremiah Norbert. A commentator reads, the only growth is the pockets of a chosen few, because these are the ones talking about economic growth. A NewsSpinner says there, I really hope he can explain the tourism aspect. Another comment reads, same as unemployment being 8.8%. How is that possible? How does one measure the level of unemployment on the island? How many people receive unemployment benefits so you can work out the unemployment percentage? Someone says there, I've yet to hear anybody say we will reduce the import taxes on goods for small businesses to thrive. Not one minister sees it fit to help the small economy to stand on its feet. Everything you order is double or tripled by the time it gets here. You will never get the youth vote if you keep ignoring us. A commentary reads, this whole court of justice scenario is just like the government. D'ouvre des hair. A NewsSpin says here, this government is very disrespectful. They are doing whatever they want without any discussion with the people. We're non-existent to them. They're using our votes to do as they please. The only time we hear anything is when it's released by the opposition. Now the comment reads, if PJP cooperated with Martinez and went to see the evidence when asked and took the necessary actions like Grenada, we would not be in this predicament. Another commentary reads, it is unforgivable that the government would acquire land from a Judah at a significant cost, increasing our debt ceiling without consulting or informing the citizens, while state-owned land is available at the site earlier designated for the halls of justice. This is an irresponsible and vengeful government. We must vote them out. Back to you, Tim.
Thank you so much, Amanda. Still to come, we have some more of your calls and your WhatsApp messages. This is, of course, the most monitored talk show in the world. Let's see if we have a call in the landline, and maybe it is the Prime Minister of St. Lucia. In the meantime, let me go through a WhatsApp message. It reads, this government wants the young people to vote for them, but what's in it for us? Absolutely nothing. No jobs, no proper health care, absolutely nothing. In St. Lucia, it's all man for themselves until it's election time, and they want our votes. They come and promise you help, and when you vote for them and they are in power, now they are too busy to take your call or even help you like they promised. Shaking my head. Let's see if we have another WhatsApp message. Somebody says there via WhatsApp. Tim, where and how does somebody apply or get unemployment benefits? I've only heard about this in passing conversation, but not much is known about it. Asking for a friend. I don't know of any such measure in St. Lucia where unemployment benefits are provided to individuals on island. Let's see if we have another WhatsApp message. The WhatsApp message reads, okay, we'll not go this one. I'll go through this one. Let's see if I have another WhatsApp message, and it says there, I believe that the police should have or put CCTV cameras at both entrances on the concrete road in Union by Forestry and send real-time violators of the law breakers for apprehension. There are signs indicating that lorries, goods, vehicles, and trucks should not access that road. These vehicles rarely cause traffic congestion along that route. Notwithstanding, they do. Just this morning, I saw a truck passing there, and you can imagine the chaos for vehicles to maneuver. These drivers need to be charged, and only the cameras will assist in this regard. This happens on a daily basis. Let's see if we have another WhatsApp message to go there. Somebody says via WhatsApp, Tim, I like when you mention single parents. It's always so hard for them. Thank you. And some more of your messages to go through. Let's see there. Somebody says via WhatsApp, Tim, Mr. Prime Minister, it's too late for excuses. 452-2979, your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Again, 716-2026. Somebody says there, PJP, the worst readied Prime Minister. And the Prime Minister has been speaking about something, the threat of us having to meet exorbitant cost of items being imported into the island because of high shipping costs. The President of the United States has threatened to impose tariffs on those ships, those vessels that were made in China and heading to U.S. ports with various goods and so on. Talking about as much as $1.5 million, and in another case at least U.S. $500,000 for those ships that head to the U.S. and their owners also have in their possession ships that were constructed in China. And the Prime Minister has been alerting us to this. There's
something that's very, very frightening, which is shipping. we always speak about the cost of living, but we are never very clear as to the reasons for the increase in the cost of goods and services. Goods, particularly goods that are imported. There is a proposal on President Trump's desk, or if he hasn't reached his desk, there's a proposal that every ship, and I'm paraphrasing, that every ship that is built in China or has parts of the ship built in China, they'll be fined $1 million or $1.5 million anytime they go into an American port. And I'm paraphrasing. So that is very concerning. In fact, CARICOM ministers held a meeting, prime ministers, I was there, we held a meeting, a Zoom meeting on Friday, and that was a serious consideration. And it's very important that we inform the public of St. Lucia about these things, because we seem to believe that the cost of living is a function of the prime minister. We tend to very falsely pretend that the cost of living is a fault of the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister can reduce the cost of living. But I want to know, how can the Prime Minister influence the cost of shipping? And that's a major issue. So that issue is going to be on the desk for discussion. As you know, the Prime Ministers a few Prime Ministers are meeting with the U.S. Secretary of State sometime this week, and that's going to be discussed. But it's a very, very serious issue for the cost of living in St. Lucia, extremely serious.
And I certainly share that point of view, but there's need for public education on this threat to consumers in St. Lucia. And what we will do is to help you understand the gravity of that problem during the course of our program this afternoon. Stand by with the assistance, of course, of a regional journalist who has interviewed a port manager of one of the islands. You'll be hearing that extensive discussion in just a moment. This is the most monitored talk show in the world. It is called NewsSpin.
KFC has done it again! Introducing the Wow Box, the ultimate meal deal that'll have you saying wow! For just $23, you get one crispy, juicy KFC sandwich, one piece of finger-licking good chicken, a serving of hot golden fries, more flavor, more crunch, more wow! All in one box! Hurry to KFC and grab yours now! Dine in, drive through, or order online at kfcslu.com. KFC, it's finger-licking good!
Lazarus's Funeral Home is here for you. Lazarus's Private Cemetery offers a peaceful resting place for your loved ones. With tranquil settings, visitation, and reflection, we believe in the compassionate care of all our departed loved ones. Lazarus's Private Cemetery, let us help you create a final resting place. Make it special. Make it Lazarus's Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Payment plans are available for tombs. Call us in Vidbuta at 452-7491 or in New Dock Road, VA4, 454-6555.
Lucilex remote options are available to serve you every weekday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. daily. Call or send a WhatsApp message to 285-6796, 285-7859, 285-3593, or send an email to customersupport@lucelec.com for assistance. Lucelec encourages you to use the available options for doing business with us remotely.
It's the Tile Thursday specials. The sale you've been waiting for is finally here, happening this Thursday at the Tile Gallery. Whether you're renovating your kitchen, bathroom, or updating your entire home, don't miss out on the chance to save big on high-quality tiles that will elevate any space. Mark your calendars for Tile Thursday specials, the last Thursday of every month. You can save up to 50% off on selected tiles. Located at M&C Home Depot in Sunville. Hurry in! These amazing deals are in-store only, and supplies are limited, so be sure to grab yours while you can. Remember, Tile Thursday only happens once a month, so don't miss out. Visit the Tile Gallery this Thursday. See in-store for details.
You asked for it and you got it. A quicker way to pay your bills online. It's fast, secure, and easy to use. No registration, no additional fees. Flow is now offering FastPay, an online service that allows you to settle your bills in less than 2 minutes. Need a receipt? FastPay will send it to your email immediately. Use FastPay now for convenience, safety, and efficiency at discoverflow.co/fastpay. Flow is keeping you connected.
Are you tired of going from doctor to doctor, spending time and money, yet still not getting the answers you need? Now, at La Clinique du Corps Diagnostic Center of Excellence, we bring you the latest in medical technology, our state-of-the-art radiation-free full-body MRI. With unmatched accuracy, we can detect illnesses early, giving you the answers you deserve and the treatment you need, saving lives and saving money. No doctor referral needed. Results in just 24 to 48 hours. Plus, a free consultation with a doctor to explain all your results in detail. Don't wait. Take advantage of this special offer and book your full body MRI at our Cocoville, Rodney Bay, or Castries locations. Call 451-6559 now. La Clinique du Corps. Your health is our priority.
Essie, don't tell me that tire flat again. I just changed that tire.
Wait, what? You just changed that tire?
Well, I bought a used one because you didn't give me enough money.
Oh, I see. Well, you know what? Chivi's Tire Shop only carry brand new quality tires at affordable prices with free installation.
Hey, it seems you're working at Chivi's Tire Shop. How you know all that?
Come on, Brenda. The tire shop down the road from our home in the American Drywall Building.
Oh, yes. I forgot. Well, you know what, Patrick? Let's go there right now. Take your wallet. Let's go.
Chivi's Tire Shop, located at the American Drywall Building, Vic Boutte. Call or WhatsApp 584-5986. Chivi's Tire Shop. Pay less, drive more.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
Beyond the shadow of a doubt, this is the most monitored talk show in the world. It's called NewsSpin on Power 97.9 FM. The broadcast is also on the NewsSpin Facebook page as well as the NewsSpin YouTube channel. Let's take a call via WhatsApp. Hello, good afternoon to you. You are on the air. Hello.
Hi, Tim.
Yes, Mr. Josie, good afternoon to you, sir.
Yes, I usually give my signature call, Timothy.
Mr. Josie. How are you, sir?
I feel quite well.
What's in your mind today?
I will try to be as short as possible.
Mm-hmm.
The last time I spoke to you, I said how much I support Mr. Shastney, Alan Shastney, and yet I find him too much of a nice person. With all the things that Mr. Shastney, Alan Shastney, explained today on the corruption of the government, yet at the end he's telling the voters to be careful with the vote that they don't vote for this government again. As far as I'm concerned, and I'm not teaching any big man how to speak, based on everything Mr. Shastney knows, he must say to the people of St. Lucia, this government has stolen sufficient. They have been too corrupt. They came in on a lie. They are still lying to us. When I get into office as the leader of the United Workers' Party and the next Prime Minister of St. Lucia, there will be heads rolling. There will be whipping and gnashing of teeth of those corrupt people and their families and those who have facilitated them. Some of them must go to prison. I know in the nice British legal system, parliamentary system and things like that, they say two politicians, say, man, they're all the same, so nobody ain't going to jail. Those days are over. Those days are over. The world is changing. And if you don't believe what I'm saying, just keep your ears and eyes open. We in St. Lucia, with our little few people who are paying tax, the few people who are sending remittances, that is money from overseas. We don't have money to waste and to give people. The problem is, and I hear Mr. Shastri mention Hilaire and Frederick. These guys have a history. Mr. Shastri knows that. He knows that. They have a history. And I told you once before, and I told the people of St. Lucia, these investors are coming today, and they have been around a long time. When I was a young parliamentarian, I had a call from Chicago in the United States. Somebody wants to visit St. Lucia, and they want to see me. They want to meet me. They want to invite me to dinner at Chef Harry of Le Monde in those days. All of these people now who are coming as investors, they come in with a plan to corrupt the minds and the brains of these young politicians who are anxious to make money. And all of them know that. You mentioned, I think Alan mentioned when Hilaire was in England the first time representing St. Lucia. You know the Juvali story.
Yeah, but we have to be very careful, Mr. Josie. We have to be very careful of casting aspersions and making allegations that we cannot prove. Okay? So let's be extremely careful, sir.
Okay, let me say something that I cannot prove, but I say. When these guys, and I'm talking about these modern politicians in the Caribbean, not only St. Lucia, when they're dealing with people who are coming to invest in, the people come here, whether it's Chinese or Taiwanese or whatever, I think I'll take out Taiwan from that, or whatever part of the world they're from, they are coming with money to corrupt the politicians. I'm not talking about St. Lucia only. That is how they work. These fellas are coming to buy your port. They are coming to take over your airport. They are coming to take over your island if you allow them to do that. That is the name of the game today. So you can't have weak-headed, hungry leaders running your country. That is the message that we must send to our people. Nobody you is poor. You have nothing to your name. You have nothing at all. You're just trying to make your way. You just come from university, just come from studying. You hear politicians have think there's money in politics, and you come with your bag empty, your pockets empty. We do not want this kind of people in our government, and Alan Shastri must say that clearly. And he must say that he will get the best lawyers that he can to carry out investigations into some of the allegations that he is making. He himself is making, whether it is money to build hotels, to ports, or whatever. That is the point I'm trying to make. We have to speak with some more purpose, some feeling, some more power to let people know that you are serious, and to let the Labour Party itself, the leaders and the ministers, know that you are serious and you come in for them. That is the kind of language I want to hear. Okay? Have a good afternoon.
All right. Thank you so much. Firebrand politician, Mr. Peter Josie, former Minister of Agriculture, former Foreign Affairs Minister. 452-2979. Let's see if we have a call in the landline at 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. 716-2026. Somebody says there via WhatsApp, I need to hear from the Prime Minister of St. Lucia what is the island stance as it pertains to the U.S. sanctions on the Caribbean islands, which utilize the essential Cuban nurses and doctors. We have heard from 3 leaders thus far, but nothing from St. Lucia's Prime Minister. When will the Prime Minister stop disrespecting and pretending that the citizenry does not matter? Is he so selfish and self-centered that he does not care about whether St. Lucians die due to poor health? St. Lucians need one of the ministers or the Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Minister, or Minister of Foreign Affairs to inform us of their decision. The Minister of Everything, Richard Frederick, can also do so. Whoever has the guns to speak out. St. Lucians are waiting for this long overdue address on the issue. Thank you. You have a call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air. Hello. Yes, sir. Good afternoon to you, caller.
It's a friendly neighborhood if it's good afternoon for.
Good afternoon.
Saudi Amanda, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, caller.
Big up Mr. Rigo, but anywhere you sit down, lay down, or stand up in the world, sir, big up your damn self. Anyways, Timothy. So I think now is a good time for the government to think about like decentralization, Tim, because Castries is really built on waterlog and swamp. I don't think the ground is stable enough to hold anything anymore. And I hear people complaining about the traffic and the congestion. So I think Vieux Fort would be a great site for the Halls of Justice. We have ample space, stable land. You could have a nice parking lot and not have to worry about traffic congestion. What do you say?
What about Bridge Street, the site that was originally identified for the construction of the Halls of Justice?
Well, then I'm saying decentralization, Tim. Everything don't have to be in Castries, Everything doesn't have to be in Castries. Okay, look at countries like, I would say, even Canada. So you have the capital city in Ottawa, but then the financial center and all the big buildings and everything that's important is right down here in the city of Toronto, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there are countries like that. If you go to Australia, the capital of Australia is Canberra, but there's rarely anything there. You have to go to Sydney to find. You understand? You know what I mean, Tim?
Yes, sir.
So I think it's time we start like decentralizing, Tim. Well, I cannot say anything about CIP because I'm not really versed on what's going on. I don't have enough information, so I don't want to cast any aspersions. But one thing I can say, I have to agree with you, when it comes to quantitative data, it's very easy. It's very easy for people to manipulate in that way. Because I remember in 2011, Winnipeg was branded the most murderous city in the country of Canada, right?
Yeah.
Because their murder rate had went up by, according to the paper, 300%. You know what the murder rate went up to from Tim?
Mm-hmm.
They had 2 murders the year before, and then they had 5
wow.
the year after. So it went up by 300%, Tim. So now, to the ordinary man reading that, Tim, they're going to say, oh my God.
So the figures do lie. The figures do lie.
Of course they lie, Tim, but it's hard, Tim, to... I don't want to insult my people, I love St. Lucians. It's very difficult, Tim, for the untrained mind. And I'm sorry to say it in that way, because they're going to say, oh, Alan Shastney-esque, I'm branding people as 43%ers. But the person without any post-secondary training, Tim, it is very difficult, Tim, for you to say to them, hey, they can trick you easily by using statistics in that way, by telling you, oh, whatever percentage, and by not giving you the real numbers, Tim, and anything to compare it to. So you just say, oh, it went from 30% to 18%. But then how? How did it go from one point to another? And then to the person, you mentioned something by sample size, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people, Tim, don't understand that type of language. It comes like jargon to them, right? So like, they don't understand. If I walk through an SLP stronghold and I take a survey, the odds are the SLP is going to be leading in that poll because the sample size is so small.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I mean, Tim?
Yes.
It is very difficult, and I have to commend you, Tim, for trying your best. You along with Mr. Rick Wayne and Mr. Rigobert and the other people who call in to contribute to NewsSpin. Anyways, have yourself a fantastic afternoon.
You too, sir.
Bye, Amanda. And you guys take care.
Yeah, thank you so much for calling. Once again, as we told you early on, U.S. port charges on Chinese-made ships could impact the Caribbean by raising shipping costs and potentially affecting regional trade. Now, regional leaders, they're scheduled to, at least 3 of them are scheduled to meet with the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. He arrives in Jamaica today, and tomorrow he'll be meeting with the heads of Guyana and also Suriname. That's one of the issues they'll be discussing with him. But Garfield Burford of ABS television over in Antigua, he has been speaking with one Darwin Telemark from the Antigua, and he's the Antigua port manager, attending a conference over in Singapore. And he spoke with him just yesterday about those U.S. port charges on Chinese-made ships and the impact it could have on Antigua and the rest of the Caribbean.
the provision calls for 2 sets of fines and more going down the road, depending on the ownership level. So one, if you have Chinese-built ships in your fleet, there is 1 fine. And then if you have ships that are built in China, every time that ship touches a U.S. port, there's going to be a fine up to $1 million per port call on that ship. Now, in Antigua, we have Tropical Shipping, CMA CGM, Seaboard, and King Ocean serving us out of the South Florida Miami port. King Ocean has approximately 25% of their fleet built in China. Tropical has somewhere between 48 to 52% of their fleet built in China. Seaboard has pretty much around the same, 48%. And King Ocean is showing that there is a 41% ownership of their fleet built in China.
Right. Okay. So the implications of this in terms of freight rates, Darwin, what are we looking at? How would that compare with, for example, what took place in the COVID-19 pandemic when freight costs also went up? Are we seeing a similar impact if this were to go ahead?
Well, there would be a much different impact, Garfield. First of all, you're looking at, before we talk about freight rates, let's talk about whether or not the services are going to continue in the same framework or shape that they do. For example, we have weekly services coming out of Miami, and that's because the ships are able to use all the tonnage that they have to execute on those services. If, in fact, the ships are going to have to make changes to facilitate reducing the exposure to those fines, then we would probably have likely interruptions in terms of the quality and transit time of the services that serve us. So there would be an impact on service. Second thing is the freight rates would be astronomical. COVID will look like child's play. And what I mean by that is the regional lines during COVID, Tropical, Seaboard, King Ocean, and the likes, and even CMA CGM out of Miami did not increase those rates. We had rates increase from Asia, massive increases from Asia, from $1,200 per unit into the USA to $20-something thousand. But those were mostly for Asian-bound, European-bound cargo. Our bread and butter coming out of South Florida did not see, there were some hikes, but we didn't see the type of hikes. We could now see hikes, according to some of the shipping owners, the ship owners. We could probably look at rates of 90%, 100, even more than that percentage in our freight rates from South Florida. So a $9,000 reefer could go up to double that. And that sort of impact we've not seen. We didn't see that in COVID. We would see that in this instant. And couple that with the fact that we still aren't sure as to what the type of service would be if, in fact, this situation were to come to fruition.
Darwin, very quickly and finally as well on this, before I get to you on the e-fuels function that you're attending in Singapore. Penultimate question. So if the carve-out is not granted by the Trump administration, CARICOM is writing to Washington to seek a carve-out under the Caribbean-based initiative for CARICOM countries and say, look, this will decimate, this will have a significant impact on the import-based economies of the region. What if this carve-out isn't granted? What are the options?
Well, first of all, the carve-out should be understood in the following manner. We are asking for the CARICOM member states, the CARICOM region, to be identified as a unit, to also be brought in under the Caribbean Basin Initiative agreement that we've signed. We've added some other language in there to include the Shipriders Agreement and other Cabrera and other agreements that exist, specifically targeting only CARICOM. Now, why is that? We also know that the head agency that governs shipping to and from the United States, the FMC, which is now run by Mr. Louis Sola, someone that I think we should familiarize ourselves with because he's going to have significant impact on our lives going forward. He is also aware of the number of ships and ship owners that actually serve that region as well. So we think we have a captive group of ships, a captive group of owners. We also have an agreement that allows us to be to fit within a framework of the CBI, and we think asking for that would probably more than likely go through. If it doesn't go through, we are looking at some very significant, painful times going forward if the Trump administration goes through with this decision. There are some ships that, would not be able to, they couldn't afford to go back to Florida. There are some potential opportunities that could befall us as well, because if the U.S. government were to impose that and some of the shipping lines would need to reroute some of their business, more than likely the Port of St. John's would be a good option. We are also ensuring that we present ourselves as an option that is ready to facilitate some of that action were it to happen. And if it does, we'd be able to help ease the pressure going down to our brothers and sisters in the Caribbean while the port benefits from additional activity. So that would be the likely outcome, but there may be some ports that you could probably see reduction in port calls, and I don't even want to go further to say what may potentially happen, but it could be catastrophic. This situation is not something that one can take the gas off the pedal trying to fix. That's to be a full court press. I applaud the heads for a meeting last week on this urgent matter to try to address it. They've stepped forward with what would be a strong political position that was needed. What we had before was the commercial side of the ships in Miami, the shipping lines in Miami going to Congress. The head of the CARICOM private sector organization, Dr. Patrick Antoine, was also summoned to Washington as well. He presented a moment ago. We just got off the phone, and he thought he had a very good presentation before the USTR representatives, the Department of Commerce representatives, and Department of Trade representatives. And there's going to be some continuing discussions going on, particularly as it relates to the impact, the broader impact, economic, social, and otherwise on our region and some of the industries that do business in our region.
You just heard there from Darwin Telemark, Antigua Port Manager, is currently attending a conference over in Singapore, speaking last evening with Garfield Burford of ABS Television, alerting us that if the United States decide to impose a tariff on U.S. On the Chinese-made ships, this certainly can impact us in the region as consumers, because those goods entering our region, the tariff will be imposed or passed on to the consumers, and therefore what awaits us certainly definitely is alarming, and it can hurt us in our pockets. 4522979, WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Amanda, what's happening in the chat room?
Team, a comment here reads, former Prime Minister, here is my thing. Richard Frederick is already an elected rep, and by the looks of it, he is not going anywhere. From what I am seeing on the ground, so let's move on and see if we could sell the policies of the UWP to the people. A NewsSpinner says there, so they say unemployment is down. My question is, where and when were these jobs created? Where are these establishments? Who employed these people? Now the commentary reads, the last government provided unemployment benefits to NIC beneficiaries during COVID for a few months. What the UWP is proposing is to make this a permanent feature where people pay into employment insurance just like Canada and get some money if they are laid off. Someone says that unemployment insurance and health insurance, everyone who is working will pay into the fund, but will also benefit if they fall sick or if they are laid off from their jobs, exactly like Canada. A commentary reads, of course, the Prime Minister can reduce the cost of living by reducing custom duties and VAT and removing that 2.5% levy. A NewsSpinner says there, you reduce the import taxes to help cushion the increased cost of shipping. Duties are determined by CIF cost, so if it's not rocket science. Duties are determined by CIF cost, so it is not rocket science. Another comment reads, some of the goods we are importing can be produced on the island. Someone says that the Prime Minister is not an idiot and he doesn't hate his people. He may not be doing whatever you want him to do in the manner in which the people want, but I don't think he or the leader of the opposition hates the people. A commentary reads, they refuse to understand that politics has changed. This old UWP playbook should be placed in the archives, and this new UWP must come out with a more aggressive playbook. A NewsSpinner says this is no place in modern politics to be politically correct. Another comment reads, when I read some of the comments on here, I really wonder if some people even care about their own well-being. We cannot have poor governance that is so glaring and have people with the audacity to pretend that life could not be better. This is not patriotism on any level. And someone says, caller, it is not practical to place the halls of justice in VA4. Law offices, most of which are in castries, are required to be within close proximity to the courthouse. Back to you, Tim.
Thank you so much, Amanda, for that update. Let's take a call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air. Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon, Tim.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to you, caller.
Yeah, so very interesting times we're living in. If you remember, during the time of COVID, according to the UN UNCTAD, they said that I think the freight went up by 500%. Now, this affected us because we saw the increase in the supermarket. Remember that?
Yes.
Remember, week after week, people were calling you, talking about they go into the supermarket today, tomorrow, the price increase.
And we still have not seen a reduction, huh?
That I was just about to make that point. We still haven't seen a reduction, although the price of commodities went down. But Tim, the elephant in the room that we have to address is the fact that during the time of COVID, the government made more money because of that freight increase. Only Guyana, I think, and Barbados made a concerted effort to cushion the blow by, I think what they did, they used the pre-COVID rates, freight rates, and they never increased, so they never charged, because we charge, I'm sure your customs people will call you and tell you, but they charge duty on freight, okay? So if your freight goes up, automatically the government makes more money. So we need to know if this government will take the same position as the last government and continue to put the same rate and not increase, because this, like you said, will pass on to consumers. And I think it was the Antiguan Prime Minister, he said something to the effect that freight prices will go up $2,000 to $3,000 per container. So imagine all the commodities in that container now has to go through the process of all that increase. It has to pass on to the consumers. But Tim, again, we as a region have to start thinking outside of the box. If this is what the Americans are doing, because we in the crossfire of what a China and America trade war, if you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, we have to look out for ourselves. Why don't we as a region or CARICOM think collectively to trade with Africa? Look, right now, I think under the Abraham Traore, they basically have their own bank, their own central bank. Imagine that, backed by gold. No other central bank in the world, not even ours, or the American, US dollar, nothing is backed by gold. So it will be in our interest to look towards the global, what they call the global south, instead of continuing to look towards the colonial north, which basically charges a lot more interest, because you have this IMF, for example, last week you brought it up, the IMF wanting to increase or advising that we increase taxes. This is a strategy of the world order, and we have to, like I said, look after the interest of our people by looking elsewhere, even if it's China, even if it's Russia, even if it's the BRICS. But we should have that level of choice. If not, where's our sovereignty? And we're talking about what sovereign wealth fund? So there's not going to be any more sovereignty, no wealth for us to discuss anymore if this trade war continues and we continue to look towards, I don't know if it's what they call the Monroe Doctrine, that America feels that it has that right to rule over us. We need to make choices, and I don't think our present crop of leaders want to do anything else but basically acquiesce to America. Good afternoon, Tim.
Good afternoon to you, sir, and thank you so much for your contribution. And the Prime Minister recently, during that bill introducing the Sovereign Wealth Fund, did make a recommendation, and I did follow it. This is the most monitored talk show in the world. It is called NewsSpin. Still to come, some more of your calls, your WhatsApp messages, and of course our discussion. And Amanda will be going through some of the comments in the chat room.
Lucilec's remote options are available to serve you every weekday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. daily. Call or send a WhatsApp message to 285-6796, 285-7859, 285-3593, or send an email to customersupport@lucilec.com for assistance. Lucilec encourages you to use the available options for doing business with us remotely.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
Here's a fun fact. In just 29 seconds, you can say goodbye to paper bills forever. Seriously, in 29 seconds. That's less time than this ad. Head over to discoverflow.co or visit us in-store and update your contact information now. By October 1st, your bills will be digital, easy to access, secure, and hassle-free. So what are you waiting for? This ad still has 2 seconds left, and you could have already gone paperless.
St. Lucia, KFC has the crunch with our all-new strips and dip. 3 crispy, golden brown chicken strips, hot fries, a buttery biscuit, a refreshing 16-ounce Coca-Cola, all for $25. Hurry to KFC and dive into the dip life today.
Dip, dip, and dip. Your chicken strips in no dip, 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 and dip. Barbecue buffalo dip, ranch, honey mustard dip. KFC got all dips.
Order now at kfcslu.com or WhatsApp 484-0400. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Are you tired of going from doctor to doctor, spending time and money, yet still not getting the answers you need? Now, La Clinique du Corps Diagnostic Center of Excellence, we bring you the latest in medical technology, our state-of-the-art radiation-free full-body MRI. With unmatched accuracy, we can detect illnesses early, giving you the answers you deserve and the treatment you need, saving lives and saving money. No doctor referral needed. Results in just 24 to 48 hours. Plus, a free consultation with a doctor to explain all your results in detail. Don't wait. Take advantage of this special offer and book your full body MRI at our Cocoville, Rodney Bay, or Castries locations. Call 451-6559 now. La Clinique du Corps. Your health is our priority.
Need more days of savings? MNC Home Depot and Sunbelt Super Saturday of Savings has just been extended to Sunday. Take advantage of amazing deals. This weekend, MNC Home Depot and Sunbelt are offering you amazing discounts on selected items. MNC Home Depot and Sunbelt Super Saturday of Savings has been extended to Sunday. Don't miss out on the incredible discounts and deals. See in-store, Facebook, or www.mnchomedepot.com for more details. Terms and conditions may apply. Better value for better.
Taco Thursdays at Senior Snapper from Thursday, 13th February 2025 and every Thursday.
St. Lucia, your Thursdays just got a whole lot better. After work, there's only one place to be. Taco Thursdays at Senor Snapper Seafood Grill and Margarita Bar.
In Cruzley Town, that is Marie Therese Street.
Live DJ, fresh tacos, and island vibes. What more do you need? Tacos for just $10 plus 2-for-1 margaritas and mojitos to keep the good times flowing.
Thursdays is Taco Thursdays at Senior Snapper.
On Easter Sunday, when the sun rises in the west, so will the vibes. Rise 5 in Citrus. Rise 5 in Citrus. April 20th, Soufre Mini Stadium. From 3 p.m. featuring Imran Nerdy, Arthur, Shemi J, DYP, plus St. Lucia's biggest DJs. Plus, Soca Sensation, Hyper Sounds. Hyper Sounds. voice of the one, Hypersound. Tickets are $120, available at all Sell Outlets, Mambo's Bar in Soufre, and online at fourcircletickets.com. More at the door. Platinum sponsor, Court St. Lucia. Gold sponsors, Bank of St. Lucia, Hotel Chocolat, Hennessy, Bounty Rum, JP Chenet, and KFC. Bronze sponsor, Heineken, Power 97.9 FM. Media sponsor, Liberty Media. Rise 5 in Citrus. On Easter Sunday, we rise.
This is the most monitored talk show in the world. It is called NewsSpin on Power 97.9 FM. The broadcast is also on the NewsSpin Facebook page as well as the NewsSpin YouTube channel. So the Prime Minister was debating the Sovereign Wealth Fund bill just recently. I think it was March the 11th, that's earlier this month, made reference to a particular book because what he was speaking about is promoting generational wealth. Let's listen.
Not many of us have the luxury of intergenerational wealth. Not many of us. That's a fact. I'm not casting aspersions on anybody or anything or being personal. Not many St. Lucians have intergenerational wealth. Not many St. Lucians, the parents can leave anything for them. But for your parent, for young people in St. Lucia, to have in their minds that when they grow, they must leave something for their children. This is called intergenerational wealth. So you cannot have what the sociologist Beckford calls persistent poverty. And that's good. That is good reading, Mr. Speaker, for any student of sociology. It's a book called Persistent Poverty, where Beckford postulates that people, they born poor and they die poor. It's called persistent poverty, Mr. Speaker. Not many of us have the luxury of intergenerational wealth. Not many of us. That's a fact. I'm not casting aspersions on anybody or anything or being personal. Not many St. Lucians have intergenerational wealth. Not many St. Lucians, the parents can leave anything for them. But for your parent, for young people in St. Lucia, to have in their minds that when they grow, they must leave something for their children. This is called intergenerational wealth. So you cannot have what the sociologist Beckford calls persistent poverty. And that's good. That is good reading, Mr. Speaker, for any student of sociology. It's a book called Persistent Poverty, where Beckford postulates that people, they born poor and they die poor. It's called persistent poverty, Mr. Speaker.
Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre. So I was curious enough. I actually purchased the books. I've purchased the book. I'll be going through that book within the next few weeks or so. Persistent Poverty, Underdevelopment in Plantation Economies of the Third World by George L. Beckford. So I don't always ignore everything the Prime Minister says. When he says, for example, that, what he said? He said recently, figures don't lie. I mean, I don't believe that. That is a lie. But very curious when you made reference to this book, Mr. Prime Minister. So I'll be reading it. Thank you so much for the recommendation. Let's see if we take a final call at 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. 716-2026. And let me see in the meantime if I have any of your WhatsApp messages to go through. Somebody says there, if unemployment has actually gone down so much, can the government indicate what policies they implemented to cause it or which companies employed these people? We have another WhatsApp message. It reads, Philip J. Pierre, so you want to tell people they are entitled to poverty. You don't even know what you're talking about. Another WhatsApp message. And this WhatsApp message reads, okay, let's take a call instead. Okay, we have a call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, Timothy. How are you doing?
I'm okay, ma'am. Good afternoon to you.
And how is Amanda today?
Good afternoon, Cole. I'm all right.
Okay. So, Timothy, unfortunately, I wasn't really listening to your broadcast today, but I was listening to something else, and I felt that I had to call in. So I heard the Prime Minister and the Minister of Housing both say that the sale of Constitution Park, that is the fact that the leader of the opposition said that Constitution Park was sold is an outright lie and all kinds of stuff like that. But let's examine that for a minute, Timothy. We all know that the Halls of Justice is being built by NH under a bolt agreement. Please feel free to correct me if I am wrong. Now, a bolt agreement means you build, own, lease, and transfer, correct?
Yes.
Am I correct? Yes, okay. Isn't it standard practice in a bolt agreement to transfer the property, the state's investment in the project to the developer?
That's what happens, yes.
Haven't we seen that in every bolt agreement? The Orange Grove, we've seen it. Several others. I can't remember all of them right now.
Yes, you have things like fire stations. When fire stations have been constructed, yeah.
Right. It is standard practice in a bolt agreement to transfer the state asset. In most cases, it is the land where the project is being built to the developer so that they can acquire assets to build to invest in the project. How, when you transfer the asset into the name of the developer, Timothy, doesn't it mean that they own it for the time?
Does it mean what?
Isn't that what it means?
Yes.
Does it mean that for the duration of the project, it belongs to them?
It does. It does belong to them.
So how can the Minister of Housing and the Prime Minister believe that we are so stupid that we don't understand what a bolt agreement means? I don't understand these people's mentality. I understand that St. Lucians traditionally do not pay attention, but do not come and try to pull the wool over the public eyes. The facts are Constitution Park, which is, and when they say Constitution Park, I assume they're speaking of the site of the old courthouse, because that is in Constitution Park. That was supposed to be part of the original agreement for the Halls of Justice, the bolt agreement. Okay? It is public knowledge that the gentleman who is the owner of NH said on a Trinidadian platform, either it was in an interview or whatever, that he is using his own company to finance the project. What asset do the people believe that he's using as collateral? Obviously, it is the land that was given to him as part, or to use as part of the bolt agreement. Obviously, the state will not sell outright the land to the gentleman, because again, at the end of the bolt agreement, the land will be transferred back. But for now, it belongs to him. If I'm wrong, Timothy, please correct me.
You are correct, Connor. You are correct.
So why is it that these ministers believe that we are fools? It is ridiculous. Sometimes I get so angry when I hear these things, and I hear St. Lucians repeating that foolishness and listening to it. It is standard practice in a bolt agreement that the state's asset is transferred to the developer, not indefinitely, but for the duration of the project. So when the leader of the opposition queries what happens to Constitution Park now, because obviously it would have been transferred to the guy and now they are changing the location. He is not wrong to query that. Anyway, Timothy, I really don't want to get upset because these things upset me so much. I just wanted to make that contribution and to make that clear and to tell St. Lucians, it is time we stop this practice of leaving government to government officials, leaving them to public servants that feel that they are smarter than us. Okay? Because in case the SLP has not realized, St. Lucians are paying attention. I know traditionally we don't, but now, thanks to them, thanks to the SLP and their machinations during the past 5 years and the last election, St. Lucians are now more aware of what is going on in their government than any other time in St. Lucian history. So they need to come correct. That's the message I want to send today. Thank you very much for your time, Timothy. Have a wonderful day.
You too, ma'am, and thank you so much for calling. Let me turn my attention now to our NewsSpin news of the day. The NewsSpin news of the day reads, Trump threatened a 25% tariff on countries that buy oil and gas from Venezuela. Trump threatened a 25% tariff on countries that buy oil and gas from Venezuela. And let me see if I have a WhatsApp message to go through. Somebody says, you say hurt us in our pockets. We don't have those pockets. Starvation City is where we are headed. We can't even control our ports. LOL, foolish men. And let's see another WhatsApp message. Okay, somebody says there, Tim, when property is transferred to a developer, he used it as a collateral to obtain his loan to construct the project. Now, if the loan cannot be repaid, the institution loaning the funds can seize the property. Another one, persistent poverty. That's the hallmark of the SLP government, Mali way. It's gouvernement Mali way. It's to their benefit to keep you poor so you can continually beg them for handouts. Another one, somebody says there, great show, by the way, as always. And let's see if we have a final comment to go through. Somebody said Mr. Chastney is a better leader than Mr. Pierre. The reason Chastney lost the election is because he did what he wanted and he did not listen to the cry of the people. I'm not saying that what Pierre is doing is right. However, Mr. Chastney, like Pierre, is not acting in the interest of the country. They are not transparent in their dealings with our land and taxpayers' money. And another WhatsApp message before we conclude our broadcast. Okay, we have lost this message. Okay, another one. It says there, tickly situation, yes, poorer incoming politicians may be quicker to be corrupted for money, but the wealthy ones may just be the same. Our representatives should not be of a particular caliber in terms of wealth, but character and integrity. Less wealthy persons may be of a better character than a rich one. Just saying. Also, what determines unemployment rate? Is it the number of persons willing to work and cannot get jobs? Or in general, how many people are working age and not working? And, okay. Well, that's the broadcast. Thank you so much for watching and listening to another edition of the world's most monitored talk show. This has been another edition of NewsSpin right here on our NewsSpin Facebook page, as well as the NewsSpin YouTube channel and Power 97.9 FM. My name is Timothy Poleon. Goodbye.